membership coordinators. Introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. I don't know who to look at. This is really weird, so sorry if I appear spaced out. It's Evelyn Langenstein, and if you hear a cat screaming next to me, I'm not torturing her. She just wants attention. She's 18 years old and she wants attention. I have been with Sweet Adelines for over 34 years with the same chorus, Spirit of Syracuse chorus. And I'm obviously the membership coordinator. Deb Saki, who's raising her hand, is the, as well as being the Spirit of Syracuse membership coordinator, is also the RMT communications coordinator. So between the three of us, marketing, communications, and membership, I think we're pretty tied together in terms of membership retention, membership recruitment. And I will tell you that I don't know whether this was fortuitous or I had some intervention here, but the focus for the next year for Sweet Adelines is actually going to be on membership retention. So the first 2 years, the Ignite the Sound, the focus there was on new members, membership recruitment, and the next year is going to be on membership retention. That's not to say that we as a team, we can decide what we want to focus on and what we want to talk about, and some of it in the future meetings will focus on recruitment. And seriously, I think the two go hand in hand. If you're talking about what keeps people staying, membership retention, it's also what brings them in. So they are connected, and we're not, talking about one versus the other. One of the things that I think you're going to hear me say often, and what I think surveys have found out, is that the first year of membership is crucial. And we may have something in the future where we just specifically talk about programs during the first year, membership retention programs during the first years. Statistics have shown that if people stay that first year, they're more likely to be lifetime members. So if Alexis, you want to go to the first slide, please?
Yes, I can.
Probably slide number 2, because I just did slide number 1, membership retention. Also know that some of this information I did read all your, when you RSVP'd, if you had specific needs or interests, I wrote them down. We will be talking about them and utilizing some of that information to design future classes, future membership meets. So the overview. Okay, so this is kind of what we're going to try to talk about today. Well, what we are going to talk about today. What keeps them coming? What keeps them coming in the door, and what keeps them staying? We're also going to talk about membership recognition ideas, share some ideas. Choruses do different things to recognize members, whether it's a musical recognition, social recognition. Again, studies have found that if we recognize our members, they're more likely to stay. We're going to talk a little bit about fundraising ideas and and community engagement and how that relates to membership recognition. Membership retention. Then we're going to spend a little time, and we may skip to this in dependent upon our time. When I sent out the initial email, I said Sweet Adelines was introducing a new program, membership retention toolkit. Well, it was released on Thursday, and it's called Mission Retention Membership Program. So the focus, as I said, and we'll talk a little bit about that, is on membership retention for the next year. Next slide, please. Okay, so what keeps them coming and what keeps them staying? That's like the $1 million question here. This was a slide that I copied. There is a committee called the Membership Retention Committee, and we have a liaison on that committee. So if there are issues as far as membership retention, issues, concerns, ideas, feed them to me. And we have Molly Huffman is our representative on that committee. And this was a slide that was used by the membership retention committee that for me really resonated to me. You may question, why did you really fall in love with barbershop? Well, I'd like to say that all of us here on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning during the summer, we fell in love with barbershop. We fell in love either with the music, with our choruses, with the people. And that's part of what we need to share with our members. These two statements here. So in our region, choruses, we're carefully and continually creating that safe, hopefully we are carefully and continually creating that safe, special place where every member can openly share their gifts and talents with us. That's going to help in keeping them coming and keeping them staying. Now, the other statement, what keeps them coming and staying, for some people, it's the social connections. For other people, it's the musical connections. I think most of us would agree it's a combination of both. Some people initially will come for the music, but if they don't feel as if they belong, if they don't feel as if they're welcomed, if those needs are not met, they're not going to keep coming. And these social and musical connections give us countless opportunities to become better humans on many levels. And developing that safe and special place with every member, we have to know who we are and what we're about and what our culture is about as a chorus. And we also have to be aware and seek the gifts and talents that individuals have. So that's, again, something that we're going to talk a little bit about, but doing surveys, understanding who your members are and what their talents are, can go a long way to making them stay, making them feel like they belong. And the next slide really deals with developing a culture. Alexis, next slide, please. I would also challenge you to think back on and to think about why you first came and what you love about barbershop. Because knowing, and I know Carol, this was something you over a year and a half ago worked with your chorus. Why do we keep coming? Those of us that have been around a long time. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the recognition part of this talk. But, those of us, those of us who have been around a long time, what keeps us coming? What motivates us? Sharing that with choruses, with the region, stimulates other people saying, oh yeah, I feel the same way. You know, there's always peaks and valleys of interest, activities, aggravations, issues, but by and large, we've all stuck in here and we've stayed, and there's reasons, and that we're still coming. And the bottom line is the positives have to outweigh the negatives. And for all of us here, I know they do. So why they stay, just reinforcing one of the issues, one of the reasons why people stay is if the member is connecting with that chorus culture. When they come, they have certain expectations and perceptions, and that those perceptions and expectations have to meet the reality. But in order for that to happen, the chorus really has to know what their sense of identity is. What do they want to accomplish? Who are they? What are their focus? And again, this is another slide from the Membership Retention Committee that really spoke to me. What keeps them coming back? A sense of belonging. Are they welcomed? Are they welcomed when they first walk in the door? Are they recognized? Are they known? Are they accepted? And some of this, you know, are they needed? Have they been given tasks? Have they been given too many tasks? You know, again, understanding what members' needs are is crucial. Is a sense of belonging can also be, like I said, giving them, identifying tasks, identifying what people's backgrounds are, what they're good at, what their skill set is, and matching that up with some of the jobs that need to be done within the chorus. Questions, comments, you want to open it up? I mean, we could probably spend a whole hour on this, because on this slide, but spending time looking at this and thinking about it, do your new members, do your longtime members feel as if they belong? How you want to unmute people?
Yeah, let me go. I'll take it out of the slide so we can have like a little discussion and then come back into it.
Okay.
Evelyn, I just remember I have to share this thought because we have a member who's been with us. She's not brandy new, but she kind of just, my enthusiasm, you know, goes over the top sometimes to the point where I don't want to use the word stalking, but I just remember this person. She said, you just were so infectious. And I follow up, you know, sometimes to a fault, you know, without, you know, it's okay. But she said, I'm so glad you did. I'm here and I'm really enjoying it. And I just think it's critical to what you're speaking to. Once they walk in the door, all of what you said, you know, a feeling that I think they get a sense of the culture. Do they feel welcomed? All of that is so very important, but so is the follow-up. And I think the surveys for questioning their background and their talents are also critical to what you're speaking to.
Well, and I think we're always surprised. People have these talents or what they do for a living, and what skill set that brings. I know for us, it's been, eye-opening. And I think the bottom line also is communication, 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 and involvement of the membership folks, the music team, whatever section they're in, as well as the directors and the directing team. Everybody kind of has to be on the same page. They don't all have to do the same jobs, but knowing what maybe for that member is too much, and we'll talk a little bit about some of these membership recognitions and some of the issues of why people leave, and maybe what we can do, some of the ideas, how we can change that around, and get them to stay.
I don't think it's simply asking for a volunteer. Is there anyone that might like to do? I find the direct approach possibly better. If I know a skill set that a member has, I'll go to them, and if they can't do it, I'll try someone else. If you ask for assistance with something and you don't get a volunteer, do you know what I mean? That's why knowing the skill sets is so important, and what their interests are, other than obviously the music and the singing. So
we found it very helpful, and I'm trying to think, a historian as well as a sunshine person. We just asked the chorus, and people did step up this time. The other thing I think that's critical is if you do set up these riser buddies, it's got to be, it can't be assigned. It's got to be a volunteer. Certain people, again, as we talk about people's gifts and people's talents, some are just, that's not their gift and that's not their talent, and pushing someone to do that is not a good thing.
And also, not only is it a gift for them to have that relationship with a new person, but also that they have common interests or common personalities so that they can get along. And we pick them for that reason too.
Good point.
Evelyn, if I could just say something too, it's also interesting when you get a new member walk in the door. It's important. I've been around the block for my 51st year. I still feel like a new member, but I'm here forever. And there's so many, you got me thinking, this wonderful conference, because it's making me think on so many levels, all the things you pointed out, because people come in at different stages in their life. So when I started, I was a kid and I was looking for music, harmony, friends. But then as I got into my young family, I was looking for a way out so I could get out every Thursday night, get away from my family and have a wonderful hobby. Then as I got older, I realized this family of Twin County Chorus has become a family. And these are the sisters I never had. So it all changes. So when you get a new member in, maybe know where they're coming from in terms of what stage of their life they're in. Like we hook up the new young girls with younger members as soon as possible, because they can speak the same language, the music, yada, yada. So there's many ways to look at new members walking in the door, but how old they are, what do they have to offer, utilizing their talents, like you said, could really go a long way.
Great points. All wonderful points. And that's what gets them there. So, and that's kind of personifies what I was saying earlier, that recruitment and retention go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And if you've got them that first year, the likelihood they will develop friendships. They'll develop people that they hang out with, that they room with, and they're more likely to stay.
Right.
Someone in the chat has asked, oh God, I'm saying leave the meeting. If I leave the meeting by accident, it's because my iPad has changed Zooms here. Let's see. What is a riser buddy? so we've got new membership coordinators on. Does somebody want to explain what a riser buddy is? Other courses may use different verbiage. Deb?
Yeah, we actually moved the assignment of the riser buddy to basically their second visit as a guest.
Well,
So-
first say what it is, because they don't.
Oh,
there's
the
people who
riser
don't-
buddy for us, or whatever you want to call it, is someone who kind of shepherds them through the whole process of like coming to rehearsal and becoming a new member. And they're really like a big sister, even though that might not be the right term. But yeah, it's somebody who's going to make sure they're comfortable, answer their questions, check in on them, things like that.
Big buddy,
And
big mentor.
yeah. And then we used to do it when somebody became a new member. And then we decided to actually implement it on the second visit as a guest, because guests didn't necessarily have somebody answering all their questions, even though we offer to. So somebody almost to dog them, but not to the, edge of negative.
Kind of like Becky Woodward.
Yeah. Yes.
I also think of it as that whole thing of sometimes when you're new, you are afraid to ask a question. We all like to think we're very approachable and friendly, but just the overwhelm of not knowing who it is, or being like, oh, that's the director, or oh, that's the section leader. And just knowing that you have someone you could be like, hey, someone who you could say, hey, what does riser buddy mean? Or hey, what does sunshine mean? Or hey, because there's also a lot of like terminology that we use. I mean, and this is in any organization, right? A lot of terminology, and stuff like that. So it's just having that one person you could be like, hey, what does that mean? And stuff like that.
Absolutely, because we do have our own terminology, and we forget sometimes. And I know I remind our directors occasionally when they make a comment and use some verbiage that, not everybody knows what this is, and so there needs to be clarification. I don't know, maybe we need to do a vocabulary list or a dictionary of sweet Adeline verbiage. Carol?
Yeah, at Evergreen, we call it a member mentor program instead of a riser buddy.
And
If that
generally,
clarifies it any.
they're not really dealing with the musical aspect, correct? That's
Correct.
Yeah, it's more the social aspect, and that may vary in different courses as well.
We
Yeah.
do assign a riser buddy / member mentor from the section of the guest. But other than that, it's not necessarily to assist them with the music. Although obviously that might be fair game depending on how the guest is doing.
Same thing in Sirens. We call it a mentor, and then we try and assign it within the section. Just so, again, like if they're in a sectional, they've got kind of an automatic human who they could be like, hey, what's going on? Like, I have a question. But it totally varies.
I
And-
have a question
Go ahead.
on a slightly different note, but related to getting people to stick around. One of the problems I've seen us have a couple of times in the last few years is we've had some people, especially older ladies, come in and they may not have sung for a while, but they've come back, and they get completely overwhelmed with the amount of music that we all know. And no matter how much we try to reassure them that we only expect them to learn to learn the music at their pace, they seem very overwhelmed. How do we help with that overwhelming feeling when they come in? And most of the chorus members at this point have been there, I guess. We just had one new person. So except for our one new person, I would say most people have been there 5 years. And we have, I don't know, Mary, what's Flora Beth at? 35, 40 years, something like that. We have some that they've been around for quite a long time. I don't know, that seems to be one of the places I just, no matter how much we reassure them, we've had people come for a few visits they've come back maybe 4 times, but they feel swamped no matter how
Okay,
much we try to
Jennifer.
help them.
I'm not gonna, it's like you were a plant, okay? Because our next slide, our next slide is really why they leave and what to do about it. And one of them is burnout. But so we'll go to that in a minute. But is there anything that's perfect segue? Sorry, I'm a snorter. Sorry. Those. Any more about why they stay and what your, riser buddies, mentors, or developing this whole sense of belonging? Okay, so the next slide, please, Alexis. Okay, so why they leave and what to do about it. And so some of the examples, some of the ideas that I came up with: expense, time, pace, burnout, culture clash. I was going to say culture club. That shows you how old I am. But I think this is really important to go through all of these and talk for a few minutes, because these are the obstacles that we all face. And not that we're going to be able to have answers or solutions all the time, but there are things that we can try and ways that we can reframe some of these negatives as a leadership team. And with all of these, when I say leadership team, I really mean your chorus's leadership team, including membership, the team coordinator, as well as the directing team, have to be on the same page. So let's talk about expenses. So why do members leave? You can unmute people and we'll go through each of these individually and hopefully find some solutions to some of these, or some ideas about what we can do about these issues. So expenses, obviously, it's not a cheap hobby. We talk about, and I think the first thing is that we need to be upfront with members. There's costume costs, there's makeup costs, there's travel, there's education, the course itself, music, competition. So what are some of the ideas? What should we consider? What are some of the things that might help defray some of these concerns or alleviate them? Ideas as far as expenses are concerned?
Evelyn, that was actually one of my questions. When members come through the door, all this mentoring that we provide, at what point, other than, addressing questions as the person asks them, do you introduce the dues and the costs of membership without scaring them to death or pushing them away? It's all interconnected with what we're talking about here. So.
And I think different courses handle this differently, I believe, and Deb, can you address this? It's not that we hide it from them, but you want them to get hooked before you tell them every single expense, but you got to be upfront with the basics.
We basically answer their questions the first visit and then start talking finances when they come back, because that means they're interested in, possibly joining.
We do the same thing at Twin County. We give them a week to just feel it, taste it, smell it, do it all. And then the next week, if they come back, then we do address all the financial.
But we don't shy away from answering their questions on their first visit.
Thank you.
Any other? And I got from our finance officer, she shared with me, and I can send this out to you all, her financial presentation to new members. So I will send that out to you all. And if anybody else wants to share it.
I have a point to share. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can hear me. I'm from Island Hills Chorus, and I see Mary Ann and Barbara, and they're members with me. I think what they did to assist with the expense was the chorus contributed some money to some things, didn't they, Mary Ann? Like when it came to the costumes this year, I know there was a reduced cost to that. How did they handle?
Yeah, you're right. You know, sometimes it's a percentage will help people with, you know, the costume or the next outlay of money. And that's where we try to defray the costs across the board like that. That being said, one of the things that you know, we kind of try to impress on them in the initial stages, you know, like as others were talking about the first couple of visits they have, when they start asking questions, we kind of make analogies as to what else is going on, you know, in terms of their lives. Like if you really wanted to have, you know, a membership, you know, if you wanted to join a bowling league, although maybe that's not as popular, it still takes a certain amount of money per week to do that. So we try to normalize it within the context of what other people might be interested in. And sometimes that really does help. You know, it gives them food for thought.
Any other thoughts, ideas, suggestions?
I always tell the new member when they come in that it's the cheapest counseling in town. Because no matter what kind of mood you're in when you walk in and how negative and how stressed and how horrible your day was, you always leave singing, whistling, smiling, and it usually carries over to at least the next few days. So I really compare it to a counseling session. I mean, you don't have to pay for a counselor. You don't have to go through therapy, but
Yeah.
this is the same thing. This is better than that, honestly.
Yeah.
I always say that as well, because honest, you know, look, we're all human beings here, and the reality of our lives impinges on this hobby. And man, there's some Tuesday nights where I just want to stay home.
Right.
I do not want to go. And I know the reality is if I go, once I get there, I feel better.
Absolutely.
A couple of other ideas. You know, different choruses handle their costume assessment differently. That and hope maybe, and Alexis and I and Deb will talk about this in the future. Maybe we can get a spot or some kind of group where we as choruses share some of these ideas, or if we see or read something from choruses across the organization, you know, that we can share those ideas. Some choruses, their costume assessment is rolled into dues. Some choruses, and ours at Spirit of Syracuse is just going to this. We're charging a set fee every year, and that is going to purchasing all costume needs in the future. So I don't know, you know, some courses, I don't know what the other courses are charging. We're charging a $75 fee. And that's every year. And that is going to pay for any costumes in the future, including a new one. So, because that's a huge cost. But again, we can talk more about that in the future. There's, you know, we didn't mention the Angel Fund. Most choruses have an Angel Fund.
And what is an angel fund, Evelyn?
And what is an Angel Fund? I don't, Bonnie, do you want to talk about our Angel Fund? Miss Bonnie Peterson, or
Sure. So our angel fund is a separate account that members or anonymous people can uh, contribute a little money to that all members can ask to use, whether it be for hotel for regional or help with their costume fee. Uh, we have a lot of very generous people in our chorus, and we like to take care of each other. So that's just how we do it. Um, if a person is in need of some assistance, they reach out to someone on our management team and they coordinate the best way to help them. Some people, it's like, here, take this, we want to help you. Others prefer to do like an extended payment plan or pay just a certain portion of it. But it's a case by case basis, and it's a good way to take care of each other. Most The thing that happened most recently was we announced it to the whole chorus that anyone can contribute to that as well. And that night we had some anonymous donations. So that was a huge step to providing that to our members.
And it's done privately.
Yes.
and the conversation was to the chorus, basically reinforcing that we are a family and that it's not, people should feel comfortable, and that it is anonymous. And in our case, the angel fund cannot be used towards dues. But each course you have to look at your standing rules. There may be a fund in place that's called something else. Any other comments about angel funds? I know a lot of courses across the country participate in scripts programs or purchase related programs. We don't have any grocery stores here that participate in that. Well, actually, that's not true. I think Walmart participates in it. So it might behoove you to take a look and see if there are some of these programs, because it's not, again, one of the things to be cognizant of is these sort of fundraisers or ways to reduce expenses. We don't want to tap our members. It doesn't make sense if we're the ones that are funding everything. So there's opportunities. There's, obviously performances contribute to the funds, but we have to remember there's operating costs, and those, the operating costs have to be met first. So having these angel funds, these other funds, or there might be a budget for fundraising items, and we'll talk a little bit. Well, we could talk about it now. Course fundraisers with shared profits.
I have a point to make, if you don't mind, Evelyn.
Never mind. Go ahead. I never mind. I never mind.
Okay. The angel fund is funded solely by donations done privately. The fundraisers are a chorus thing, and they fund the chorus expenses. Some fundraisers will say, okay, this is going to be used to offset our chorus meal. And that is something that will reduce everybody's cost, not just the people who are in need.
Perfect clarification.
Evelyn.
Yes. Who is, sorry, I'm not seeing.
Carol Oletta. One of my choruses, we lost a very beloved member recently, Anita Barry, that most of you probably at least have heard of. And several acquaintances of hers knew that she was, almost a 60-year member, and how much it meant to her, and wanted to make a donation to our chorus. which they did. And we decided that a good use would be, we have a lot of young people a couple of young people who have joined and couldn't afford to go to regional or the other things that are offered. So we decided to start a fund for that purpose. And this is going to be an ongoing fundraiser. For instance, if your birthday's coming up, you could say to a family member, hey, instead of a birthday gift, could you donate to a fund to help all of our members go to the contest? It's really important to us, and all the things you mentioned, how it helps you personally and psychologically and all those things. So that's another way to get a little money in a fund.
That is a great idea. I knew there have been donations in the past, like, for example, those of you that knew Kathy Sullivan from Greater Nassau, and I believe she belonged to some other choruses in the past. Her family, when she passed, donations were made to the chorus. And one of the things Kathy loved was the chorus breakfasts at International. So her donations, that fund was utilized to pay for that. So there's a lot of creative ideas that can be used to reduce costs and reduce the expenses for our members. Anything else? Oh, I'm looking at my notes here. Purchase-based incentives. So one of the things, no extra cost to our members. That was kind of what I was alluding to earlier. Some of these incentives, some of these activities, when it's our chorus members spending their own money to purchase things, that's not necessarily a good thing or alleviate the cost concerns. So there's a purchase-based incentives. There's no extra cost to members. And one of the examples are the scripts. Amazon Smile is gone. Grocery or superstore purchase incentives. One of the things, we just set up three of these purchase-based incentives in the next 2 months. One of them is a Panera. So one of them is a privately owned yogurt soft serve shop. The other one is, Deb, help me out.
Phenomania.
Well, okay. So it's Vinomania. It is a small privately owned liquor store, wine store, and Bonnie actually can address this because she set this up. Miss Bonnie.
So they're doing a wine tasting for us where people can go in and try a couple different wines, and every bottle purchased is $1 back to our chorus. And that's not just members that go in or friends and family that go in, it's any of his regular customers as well. And he's setting up a couple raffles while we're there. It's going to be a fun night. We're also doing a couple other, we call them dining for dollars. So Tully's is coming up as well. They have like famous chicken tenders. And then the last one is Chipotle.
Okay. So check out some of these, I know Tully's is a local restaurant. I believe Chipotle and Panera are not.
Well, Tully's is a chain, at least as far as I know. But I don't know how far.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a Tully's, where I used to live.
Right, in Binghamton, but I don't think it goes. It's
okay.
Upstate New York. Okay. Why else do they leave? Time. if we start thinking about, you know, weekly rehearsals, extra rehearsals, there's meetings, there's learning music, there's coaching, there's a lot of time constraints. And I don't know, what do some of the choruses do to alleviate some of the concerns about the time requirements? Anything? That's a tough one, because we have our requirements. I'll look at the chat in a minute. The only, as with finances, having upfront conversations on, you know, in the beginning, it is really important. And also, I know some choruses, you know, people come in very enthusiastic and they want to do this and they want to do that and they want to do this. And there's been some talk about limiting leadership roles for that first year. Have them enjoy and experience what being a member is like.
Mhm.
I also think you could probably give them small tasks, but not be in charge of a major event. But you know, get them involved by a time limited task, you know, depending upon their interest. But be careful, because I think there's a lot of enthusiasm when people join and they want to do a lot of things, and sometimes that can be overwhelming.
Mhm.
Any comments?
When they first joined with Twin County, we, for a long time, I'm not sure if we still do this, Ronnie and Mary are on too from my chapter, but we always recommended that they wait a year before they join anything else, because they have so much music to learn. And we always say one song at a time, but still to add on all these other executive or administrative pressures, I'm not sure it's a smart thing when they first join. That's how we do it. Try to do it.
So I have a comment about that, because I'm a relatively new member, and before I joined, I wasn't really a joiner. I guess that's a good way to put it. And I joined, and I was like, wow, this is a really great group of women. And after a while, one of the president, I'm not sure, Marion, what your title is, but she said, hey, so-and-so needs some help. Would you be interested? And you know what? That was a good approach, because the whole load, you know, wasn't on me. And I got to learn how to do the role that way. And the person that I'm with is you know, very welcoming and a pleasant lady, and explained things to me. Well, she was a teacher too, so I guess that helped a little bit, you know. But a great lady. So I think that's a good approach, because otherwise, you know, it's been my experience. I don't know. People don't really step up to the plate. I think that you do have to approach sometimes, and it's probably a good idea to wait a little while, because the music is overwhelming. I have to admit, I still don't know everything, but one song at a time, right? So I think, you know, waiting a little while, but yet saying, hey, could you help so and so, is a good idea too, because otherwise, I don't know if you're going to get people willingly going, hey, you know, I'm going to do this or whatever. So that could be a possible approach.
I think that's the perfect approach, because you're balancing both. I think mentoring is a key. Mentoring on the course level, mentoring on the regional level, developing teams. You know, you know, I'm not always good at, you know, sometimes it's easier for me to do a job, or there's lots of people, it's easier to do the job themselves than have teammates or have asked people to do parts of the job. And we're doing ourselves a disservice, and we're doing the organization a disservice. And just like you said, giving you a job to do got you involved and allowed you to see what the big picture is, and potentially something you might be in charge of in the future. right? There
I
was
just
a-
want to say something, Evelyn. I agree 100% with what you're saying, and tacking on to what Marianne had just said before. You know, personally approaching people is important, and you have to know their talents or get a sense of where they're at, but also work on their feeling of belongingness. One thing we did try for the first time was actually a job fair. This past week, the first time we ever did that, and we chunked down everything. And the philosophy was anything, you know, if you could just look and see what's available, and anything, you know, it could be the smallest thing. We chunked down everything you could possibly do, which also tacked on to what Marianne had said about, you know, working with somebody. So it's sort of like helping with the mentorship. It's helping to introduce what is there in the course. What is it all about without it's like having a menu in front of you and helping you with that. So they could go to different committees and ask questions. It worked out very nicely, actually.
So how did you do it, Marianne? Did you have like stations set up and
Yes.
like flip charts
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, we had it station set up, and we had everything printed out really to the nth degree. So you could really, you know, if you're really tentative, you're overwhelmed with your own, you know, personal stuff, you know, you could take a very small thing that maybe is not even, you know, it's not every week. It might be, you know, checking something in the storeroom, you know, something, keeping supplies up, anything. And, you know, we got a lot of feedback about that. So, you know, I thought it was really, really helped out
was a
with
great,
everyone. Oh, go
it
ahead.
was a
Go ahead,
great
Mary.
approach. It was a great approach because as a newer member, I really didn't know what was involved in running a chorus. So and as part of the job fair, I signed up to do 2 other smaller jobs that help run the chorus. So, and it gets me more involved. So I thought that was a very good approach.
I think it's a great idea because, like you said, it accomplishes both. It for the newer members, it allows them to see the big picture. There's course events, and what is course events involved in? There's membership, there's finances, there's fundraising, there's all these different aspects. And it allows them to see it, and it allows them to participate in smaller chunks. I
Right.
love it. Yeah, I think that's a great one.
Mhm.
There was also a question about, as far as some of these fundraisers, that it's difficult in some of the courses because of the far-flung, you know, geography. You know, maybe you see like, so something like Vinomania, you know, where it's in downtown Syracuse, you know, may not work for a course that has, you know, a huge geography or draws from huge geography. But I think our leadership team developed the 4 or 5 of these because one is in, you know, almost 45 minutes from my house. One is 5 minutes. One is, you know, it's they're geographically spread out. And the other thing might be looking at places that have places that have that are national chains.
Mhm.
My membership person is telling me that that I'm in danger of running out of time, but we're going to run out of time. So okay.
Evelyn, may I just throw out one question? Something to think
Always.
about. Has anyone delved into the idea of, or had any success with, corporate sponsorship?
I know, and I don't know enough to address it.
I mean, we don't have to do it on this meeting, but
Right,
something.
maybe that's something we talk about in another, in something corporate or state, local sponsorship.
Yeah. Deb, may I reach out to you? I saw you shaking your head.
Well, just that I know of where it's worked, but it's so case by case basis that I don't have any specific advice to offer. I just have been aware of it especially in another chorus that I used to sing in.
Okay. Thank you.
I will tell you, if you go to, and there's nobody on today, correct, from Capital Land? If you go to their Facebook page, and if they do have Albany's council wine, and I don't know enough to really address it, but maybe this is something we could talk about in the future.
Thank you, Evelyn. I don't want to take up your time now. I just thought I'd throw the question out. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. And I'll put it in my notes for the section. Okay, I'm gonna, let's see. So they were talking, someone was talking about pace. Okay, so you come in, you're new, you're learning the new repertoire, you're trying to figure out what barbershop is, you're trying to learn the vocabulary, there's riser etiquette, there's coaches that come in, there's passing songs, there's choreography. I think, I mean, unless we could spend time with this, it goes along with burnout. The bottom line is setting the expectations and continually communicating. Anybody have any answers? You know, the pace is, it is what it is. It's part of the chorus culture. And I think your riser buddy, your mentor, is crucial in helping you, as well as the music team. Any?
I have a thought here. It's Bonnie Stanley from Hickory Tree. I'm been the membership coordinator for a couple of years, but we have also on the committee a new member liaison. And what we've started to do this year, or actually last year too, is we set up a half-hour meeting before chorus starts within the first couple months for a new member. Now, right now we have about 3, so it works out well. And what we do is we tell them bring their questions, but at that visit we go over all those things of terms, how to pace yourself, and because I know I've been a member 5 years, but one of the things I realized is you throw out terms like waller and scooping and diphthong, nobody knows what that is if they haven't been in barbershop. And so I usually follow up with the guests right away and say, do you know what that is? And they laugh. And I said, don't worry, I don't either. We're going to go over that. So we go over that. We go over again the music, because that's always nervous about that and how to pace that and keep that communication open. And the new member liaison kind of holds the new member's hand for the first year, so they know they can contact them. And I just keep following up and I keep checking in on them and make sure they feel like they belong and not overwhelmed.
Great idea.
I'd like to add on for the learning the music. It depends on the directors and the music team how much they pressure the new members to learn stuff. And for instance, in Spirit of Syracuse, if we have performances coming up, usually they'll say, new members, you can use music. And not only does it give them an opportunity to sing with us in a performance and not feel the pressure of having it memorized, but it also demonstrates to the audience that we are taking new members in.
And another, some other ideas is knowing, having your directors provide the list of repertoire in order of importance. Obviously, there's 20 songs, you know, which ones do they need to learn first? Break it into, whether it's a performance, a show, as Deb said, into smaller sections, and allow newer members to perform a song or two. I know some courses have had, you know, prior to, let's say, regional performances. They've had a join by date. After this point, you can't join. However, there's always exceptions to that. And that's up to the directors. You guys have mentioned a lot of the ideas that have come out, big riser buddy, mentor, rookie coordinator. I think, we ask members how they're doing and never assume a new member is comfortable or doing fine. If the answer to you is I'm fine, sometimes dig a little deeper, spend a little, more time. Burnout.
Evelyn, could I just piggyback on what you just said about the music? Island Hills has a history of performing quite a bit at libraries, and on Long Island, most of the libraries expect you to be singing for like an hour and 15 minutes, which requires to have a lot of songs in your back pocket. And the music team, we could give people a list of like 22 songs, and it is overwhelming. The music team just recently, we went through the repertoire and we said, we're going to put on Choir Genius, just our core repertoire. And we picked out 10 or 11 songs that are very useful in different situations, so that if they learn this song and we have a particular, even if we have to go sing at a funeral or something, we are picking out songs that newer members could participate in, but we don't pressure them to learn them all either. But they just, and there are some people, newer members, that are quite happy, taking their time, and if they're happy doing that, and but there are other members that just want to knock it all off, so but we did come up with that idea of shortening the list so that we point them in that direction. Like, out of these 10, pick these as the next ones to learn. And the competition music will always rotate in and out of that list. So, anyway.
Maybe other ideas, those are great ideas. And maybe another one might be to include another group or two. If, putting together an hour and a half performance can be daunting for a lot of groups, and so, is there another group, be it barbershop, not barbershop, BHS, Harmony Inc., other organizations, quartets that might supplement, the performances, is just an idea.
Yeah.
I put together a burnout list here, and too much information, feelings of inadequacy, regular performances, regional events, fundraising events, social events. There's just at times it can be overwhelming. And some of the things that you all just mentioned, in addition to that, like I said, share some events, have a discussion with the chorus about what types and the number of outside events. And I know we do a poll, so part of your chorus culture, if community events is important, what kind of community events, the number of them, and asking the chorus, do we want to do this event and who is available, and really not putting pressure on members that they have to necessarily participate in every single event. And for some events, it may only require, a small number of people. But I think this whole area speaks to the need for doing chorus surveys on what kinds of performances, preferences, availability, as well as just a general, chorus survey, again, about culture and what community events you want to be a part of. Okay, so culture. Does anybody are we okay if we continue going? I was gonna try to do a 10-minute, a 5-minute break. You want to take a 5-minute? No? Okay.
Blaze onward, Evelyn, blaze onward.
Thank I know most of you will find this hard to believe, but talking for this long is hard sometimes. We've talked and alluded to the potential for culture clashes. I mean, again, it goes back to who are you? What is your chorus culture? Members' expectations may be different from the chorus standards. Some of that is a lack of upfront information, and a lack of continual communication. I think, again, you need to know who you are, what you are as a chorus, and that needs to be defined. If it's defined as a vision, as a mission statement, I think, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, chorus mission, vision statements can be either very, very formal, or not so formal, but that needs to be shared early on and often. I'm looking, what other ways can we alleviate, or what can we do about culture clashes? I'm sure people have ideas about that on this group. What do you do? Anything?
Evelyn, I think if we regularly go back to our core values, revisit them, annually. And I think if the chorus is confident in their core values, I think that solves a whole lot of problems. Because it just answers a lot of questions in, performances that we select to do, and a whole array of that sort of thing. Something that we've been trying to accomplish that we've had a bit of difficulty with, it's on our grant, is reaching out to more diverse communities and how we accomplish that. The diversity, broadening our audiences in that regard, because, obviously, one of our core values is community, and we try to reach out to, we're trying to diversify that. So I don't know if anyone else has struggled with that area, but that's something that has come up on our grant that we're trying to address.
Anybody else? And this may be naive, but I think if you are true to your culture and to your core beliefs, it may not happen overnight, but I think it eventually will happen. That may be naive. Alexis, what do you, this seems to be something that
Yep.
is near and dear to you.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I loved the framing of going back to your core values and letting that guide you. And I love talking about it, how you just it was just brought up too about the idea of even like in what performances you accept and different things like that. The great thing about a really good set of core values is that they can guide you through pretty much anything you're going to do and tell you if it's right for the chorus, right? And it can be anything from the admin side to the artistic side. In theory, it really should touch on everything. And I can use the sirens ones as an example because those are the ones I know the best. And it's one of those things where, so for us, our core values are joy, ambition, and authenticity. And they really, for us, they really work all together. In that way, we're like, you could have a chorus that was joyful and authentic, but didn't want to be ambitious. They wanted to focus on, you know, something else that would be just as wonderful and fulfilling, and something that everything. Sorry, I just got a little notification on here. I think that somebody is trying to. Nope, we're good. I thought there was like a waiting room notification. Uh and that would be a different slight kind of chorus, right? And would still be a wonderful place to sing and harmonize and build community, right? So thinking about what your chorus values. If your chorus is maybe in a place where you're trying to be ambitious with, are you trying to travel as a chorus? Are you trying to get new costumes, or you know, whatever it is, is it more important to us to accept gigs where we'd be making more money because it fuels those goals? Or are we as a chorus really wanting to make sure that we have more members and more visibility in the community? So is it more important for us to take the gig at the library that doesn't make as much, but is going to bring in people for a holiday chorus, or is going to be an opportunity for our chapter quartets to perform, right? So anything can be the right choice if it's the right choice for you, is really, for me, what culture is about. And looking at things, and not that it's not super exciting to like look and see what other people do and get ideas from that, but whenever you take those back to your chorus, your quartet, whatever it is, to sit here and go, how is this right for us, or how can we tweak it for us and make it our own, is really the thing I think that leads to the most success and fulfillment and retention, the name of the game. Back to you, Evelyn.
Perfectly said. And you've got to have a community engagement team, in my opinion, or having that, the culture, and having your what did she call it? I can't even. Your focus has to be guided by your vision statement, and knowing who you are and what you want to accomplish. That community engagement, it may be, as she said, an event that doesn't pay as much, but what is your focus? What is your goal? Is your goal to become more aware within the community, or is your goal the fundraising? So again, exactly what Alexis said, it's not cookie cutter. Your choices have to be driven by your culture.
And let me just add, it's important for everybody in the chorus to understand that culture, because when a guest comes in, you don't want them to get conflicting messages about the chorus that they're, you know, visiting to see if they want to belong.
Alexis, your statement was perfect.
Oh, thank you, Miss Evelyn.
You are welcome. Exit. Okay. So why they leave? Why? Do exit interviews. Again, this is something that should be done. I don't think we're very good at doing it. Knowing why people leave is as important as knowing why they stay or why they come. It can help direct your future activities or your future goals. I do think the Sweet Adelines Mission Retention Initiative challenges surveys are going to be a part of what they provide. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But any other thoughts? We'll go on to a little bit about recognition. Why do people stay? They've got to feel welcome. They've got to feel wanted. We've got to recognize that there's different ways of contributing and achieving in the choruses. It's not just the musical leaders. It's not just the management team, the board. There's lots of jobs that need to be recognized, and sharing that with the whole course. We're not always aware of what some of the people are doing. Sharing our joys, our concerns, and our courses in this region are very, very good about, many of them have a Facebook presence highlighting members. So do people feel recognized? Thanking people for praising the jobs that they do, sharing good news. We talked a little bit about having sunshine, a sunshine team, which shares good news, bad news. And then I know I came across, there was an initiative for a while, and I talked about it earlier on, members that have been members for a long period of time, sharing their testimonials. Why do they keep coming? Membership to last a lifetime. People that are in it 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, 30 years. What keeps them coming back? Sharing that in a newsletter, sharing that on Facebook, whatever you determine is the best way to share that information. Any thoughts, ideas on that? Membership recognition ideas and how that contributes to retaining members. Again, people need to feel wanted. People need to feel appreciated. People need to feel needed. We're all different. We all have different gifts. Find the gifts that people have and utilize them, but also share the joys and share the member spotlights. I think that's gone a long way to people feeling appreciated. Any other ideas? Okay, so this last one is just something that I threw in there that I'd like to work on personally within our region. I think the choruses are very good at recognizing and posting individual member spotlights, recognition. I'm not so sure if we as a region are so good about celebrating each other's achievements. So any ideas on how we can do that?
Marketing hat on. I want to say that if your chorus does something awesome and you post about it, even if it's not in the original post, even if it's in a comment somewhere afterwards, please tag the region. Because then I try and go through and I try and, be in there and sharing and liking everything that's going on. But if you tag the region, then I can reshare things and I can make sure that other choruses are hopefully seeing it. So I'm going to say that that's one place that hopefully marketing and membership can get together and tag us so we can reshare all the awesome things y'all are doing, please. Thank you.
Now here's a question, Alexis, don't disappear. I know, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it at the end because I'm trying to formulate, and Deb, Alexis and I are thinking about what our next meet is. And our next meet, I believe the focus initially that I wanted was on chorus vision, mission, culture, to me, that is the bedrock of moving forward. Knowing who you are is crucial to bringing in, what is important to you as a chorus. What is your vision for the future, your mission? Lots of words, but we need to simplify that so that it guides our activities. Was going to be the next membership meet, but that is Next slide, please, Alexa. Oh, I went ahead of myself. Maybe I didn't. No, I'm good. Next slide, please. Next slide. We talked about it. Is the new SAI mission retention membership program that was is in the process of being rolled out. You received an email from SAI membership on Thursday. What they are doing is rolling out a series of retention focused challenges. And they will be issued, these challenges will be issued the first day of each month from August 1st through July 31st, 2025. You can submit your entries to at membership at sweetadelines.com. So each month on the 1st, the challenge will be laid out. 12 challengers. One, if you submit your entry, one winner will be selected each month and receive $500. There will be, at the end, there will be 12 grand prize winners that will receive $1,000 each. There are ways to get some bonus entries, i.e. if you submit a challenge every single month for the 12 months, you'll get 5 additional entries into that $1,000 drawing. Next slide, please. We'll go with the questions and thoughts after the next slide. Are we missing a slide here? Go back. Okay, that one. So this membership retention program, if you click on the link in the email or go to your as a member, Sweet Adelines membership, there is a SAI mission retention membership section that gives you a little bit about the program, the information. And yeah, okay, I'm going all over the place. I've got the information, and you're going to get copies of these slides. Sorry. The Sweet Adelines /membership under mission retention for ideas on this new program. And sorry, go back again. So for example, here are some of the first few months worth of challenge details. The first one is, which is going to be released on August 1st, is called Let's Get Down to Basics. And what it entails is creating or revisiting your chorus's vision, mission, and vision statement. And then you would send that in to Sweet Adelines. The second one in September is tell me what you want, what's working, what can we, tell me surveys, asking members what's working, what's not working, how they can improve, so on and so forth. There's the details are not going to be released until that first day. So August 1st, September 1st, October 1st, but they are all retention focused challenges that will help you with surveys, fundraising, developing your mission vision statement, a lot of the membership recognition, a lot of the things we talked about today that's important to retention. So that's next slide. Nope, back to the other. So I also included the Ignite the Sound resources, where to go, how to find them. They're all still on the Sweet Adelines website. So they talk also about retention activities and ideas that work. There's a sheet on member recognition, fundraising ideas that work. And then there is the whole section. I would take a look sooner rather than later to the section on mission retention resources. There is a retention playbook that is coming soon. What's in it? Honestly, I have no clue, but I think there would be further clarification on this program. So the idea initially was to have the next session focus on vision and mission. I'm just not sure if that's happening on the 17th. You've got to have your mission vision into Sweet Adelines 10 days later. Do you still want to focus on the vision and the mission and chorus culture? Do you want to maybe do something more marketing 101 focused? There's several ideas. I will tell you, I'm looking at my list here, you know, whether marketing your chorus to join or talking about marketing, you know, highlighting membership recognition, or we could just go over a little more who you are, rebranding, mission, vision, core values, what's important to you as a chorus. I will tell you that at Vocal Fest coming up, Sky Harris and I are, our membership focus is going to be on youth membership. But if you want to talk more about community development, marketing, that might be a possibility as well. I just, let's see.
Evelyn, I think what might be good is if we, when we send out the roundup and the link to the video, we'll do a little survey and we can use that to determine. That way people can kind of think about it, and even the people who weren't here can kind of weigh in and talk about the next discussion. What do you think about that?
I think that's a good idea.
Great, I'll do that.
Because they are going to, I'm looking, I got a little outline of what they thought was going to be called the retention toolkit. And the first one is mission value statements. There is going to be a section on soliciting feedback, using exit interviews, member satisfaction surveys, new member surveys. There is going to be a numbers focusing on that all important first year. So I think they're putting together a new membership handbook, new member orientation and onboarding program, mentoring program, Riser Buddies. And I think the other thing that they're going to focus on is leadership's role in retention. You know, we haven't really talked a lot about our directors, our leaders' role in retention, which is crucial. Paula Davis has done several sessions on that, because it's critical that they, as leaders, as part of the leadership team, cultivate a culture of belonging, and create a positive and productive rehearsal environment. So that's all coming in the next year. I think we were just a little ahead of ourselves at this point, which is not bad, which is actually a good thing. So that sounds like a plan, Alexis. And then just a heads up on the things coming. I'm swiping my iPad. It's not working, Alexis. Next slide. Just to give you a heads up. So we talked about the future topics, sharing contact information. As I said earlier, if you have an issue with us sharing your email address and what courses you belong to, let me know. Otherwise, I think it's a great idea for us to be able to develop this core membership team and be able to share ideas, thoughts, things. Also note that within the next couple of days, you are going to receive an invitation to provide me with your member of note information. Vocal Fest is coming up and we're going to be recognizing our longevity awards as well as our members of note. Little reminder, Vocal Fest, that's information is going to be coming out, I believe, in the next couple of days as well. So just to give you a heads up. And the
Evelyn?
Yes.
Has member of note information even been sent out yet?
No, it's going to be sent out in the next day or so.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss anything.
Okay.
It is going to be due August 16th, I believe.
Thank you.
And the membership class is going to be Sky Harris, co-director of Spirit of Syracuse, and myself. And we are going to focus on, among other things, youth membership.
Speaking of that, Evelyn, City of the Hills Chorus is a really tiny place in a really tiny town, but we do have 2 colleges in town. Have any of you worked to get college students to participate? Granted, they're only in town 9 months out of the year. They're not here for the full year. Does anyone have some experience with using some music majors? Encourage, getting them to participate. How do you deal with the fact that they're not around for the full year? Does that work? I'd really like to hear that, because whenever we attract people, they're usually 45 plus. Like, we cannot seem to get anything under that.
Well, we have some adult members who are not here for the full year. We've got somebody in Cape Cod for the summer, for instance. We deal with it. She still keeps in touch and stays current with the repertoire, and she comes back in September. She's there again.
Spirit of Syracuse has a college program, and so our members are from our area but go away for college. And what we do is they have to view all our recordings. We ask them to attend one in person a month, and then they're still eligible to do our performances with us.
I think one of the things we've talked about and that we're going to talk about specifically during this class is there are considerations, there are special needs that have to be taken into account if you want to encourage youth to join us. And that's, Bonnie's just giving an example. I think we've been more successful because we have music. We've been more successful with high school students, to be honest, than college students. Yes, because our directors are music educators. So maybe utilizing music educators within your group. I don't know. That's really anybody else. You're right. College, tapping into college students has been.
Evelyn, we just had Island Hills just had an accidental college experience. We had a guest night, and we had some people, and then there was somebody that contacted us that they wanted to come, but they weren't able to come on that night. So like 2 or 3 weeks later, they showed up. And we didn't have any information on this person, and it turned out it was somebody that had just graduated from Stony Brook University here on Long Island. And she was a part of the college's a cappella group, and she had graduated, and she said, well, I can't be in that a cappella group anymore, but I wanted to investigate areas to, other places where I could continue singing like that. And we had always thought about high schools and stuff like that, but it seemed very hard to keep them once they went away to college. But then we had this light bulb moment. Ooh, maybe next spring semester we send a contingent of people over to Stony Brook and we sing for for this a cappella group or something. We haven't done anything with it yet. But because the first thing we asked her is, you have any friends? She goes, yeah, I do. But you know what? They don't live on Long Island. So Stony Brook's got to get people from other states, or she just happened to still be on Long Island. But we thought that might be an avenue that we might investigate later, see
Well,
if we
and
can grab
including
people as they graduate.
and
I would
including
like to say
collegiate
something.
people in your program, even if they live far away, just think of it as planting sweet Adeline seeds.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was just gonna say that.
You're right. Yeah. They can
Just
go
'cause they're-
home and look
Yeah.
for,
Just
right,
because they're
yeah.
not going to be with your chapter for 20 years doesn't mean they're not going to
No.
be barber shopping for 20 years. And
Right.
that's the gift we want to give people.
And Alicia Carone, our co-director, is the perfect example. She came while she was in high school, sang with us when she was 15 years old, left, went off to college. I believe she sang with Scottsdale for a while, lived out there, came back and rejoined our chorus. And now she's one of the co-directors. So it's the future. And if we all were planting the seeds, what a wonderful thing that would be. Somebody else was raising their hand.
I would like to say something. Ronnie from Twin County. Our director is a former Adelette from Syosset, and they have an amazing a cappella organization plus a group of Adelettes, and we have worked with them. We have sung with them. They sing with us. We sang at their 50th anniversary or something recently, but they're wonderful to work with, and they were really, we felt impressed with the work we were doing, and so we are trying to keep that connection. It is high school, obviously, but it's seed planting, and it's a wonderful experience both for us older people and for the younger ones, and plus they have a male group as well, which was quite astonishing.
Yeah, it takes, I will always say, I feel, and it's my opinion, it takes a little extra work, but the rewards are amazing. The energy that these young people bring to the chorus is just amazing. The joy, seeing someone get excited about something that we love is amazing. And it's a win-win all around, but it takes thought. It takes thoughtful consideration. Maybe we can address some of that in the future in marketing, knowing, again, that kind of goes back to knowing who you are, what you want to accomplish, and knowing what you want to accomplish, who you want to draw depends on who you are, and you've got to present that picture. But that's certainly, and the relationship with the Adelettes is a pretty special one that you all have, on Long Island.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it was that 50th that Ronnie was just telling you about. It was the 50th anniversary for Lindy Bortney. So many of you who have been in long enough remember she had created the Adelettes at Syosset High School. That's where we performed with the Adelettes in celebration of her Unfortunately, several weeks before this celebration that planned for years, she passed away. So it was really very, very, very bittersweet is how to explain it, I guess. It was very sad, but a wonderful experience in terms of the Adelines. Also, I've been teaching at Nassau Community College for the last close to 20 years now. Every concert that they have musical, I try to go, not because I don't love the concert, which I do, but I've made a relationship with their choral teacher, and I always ask him to put a flyer up in their bulletin board for the Sweet Adelines, because these are, you know, community college, they're only there 2 years usually. So I've done that for many years. We don't get people calling. It's just amazing. And he always does it. I always see the board and we have our flyer up there or whatever. I'm not sure what the problem is, why we can't get more college age students down. I'm really at a little loss because I go to all their concerts just for that reason.
Well, maybe that's something we can talk about in the future as a need. You know, having targeted marketing programs, targeting membership drives. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, this was, any other questions, thoughts? Hopefully this was the beginning of a great future of us sharing ideas and getting together and talking about membership and creating some more excitement and sharing across the region. I think
I have
we're
some ideas, Evelyn, too, on how to kind of create like a digital space where we can kind of share things too. So I'll try and put that together. So when we send out the information, we'll have that. And then that way, all of you wonderful humans from all of these wonderful choruses can collab with each other anytime you need to.
That's actually one of the things I wrote down. Ask Alexis.
Oh yeah. Already on it.
I know you are.
I just have one other quick question. What, besides Facebook, what other social media platforms have you found to be most effective? Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, what?
So the biggest thing I would say about social media is that if you are going to be on a platform, you should be active on that platform, right? So you don't want to have an account just to have an account and let it be dormant of any kind. I know for Harmony Celebration and for Sirens, there's both Facebook and Instagram presences. For Sirens and for Gotham, there are TikTok presences, but they haven't been terribly active. They're like kind of intermittent. So what I would say is really just focus on whatever you're going to use, using that sort of thing. And the good thing now too is, especially with the way Facebook things are set up, Facebook and Instagram has a lot of integration, so you can cross post and schedule things, which is really helpful. But again, it's really about what works for you. I know a lot of choruses who have had great success on Meetup, putting things on there and getting people who have been like, ooh, what's that? I want to go check that out, and had people come and join and do that. So I would do a little bit of clicking and digging around and trying to figure out what you use, or what whoever in your chorus is going to be maintaining, or whoever, like a couple people, whatever, are going to be maintaining these channels.
I know we all have, as one of the youngest members in the group at Still Plus 50, you know, part of the problem is I have no clue. I have never been on, like, we've used Facebook really well because that's what everybody's really comfortable with.
There you go.
But I keep hearing about all this other stuff and where the younger people are and going,
I want to be
okay,
where the youngsters are.
probably, yeah. We probably should be digging into where they are. So that's why I just wanted to ask, like, if we're gonna dip our toe into something else, where people
Y'all, if you've been having success on Facebook, I would say go to Instagram next. And also, if you want to set up a time to talk, like me, you, your marketing people, whatever it is, just let me know, because I'm totally happy to do that. We can figure some stuff out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. Let's see, is there anything else in the chat? I think we're good. You can all go and enjoy the rest of this glorious Saturday. I hope the weather is good where you all are. It's gorgeous here, 80 degrees and no humidity. So, yay.
This was great. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank-
So good to see you.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you,
Thank you.
Evelyn and Alexis.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It was
you.
good to see everybody.
Yeah, thanks,
It's great to
everybody.
see everybody.
Thank
And hope I see a lot of you at Vocal Fest.
Yes.